So I'm actually standing in my kitchen right now, but it still is not finished. It's not fully functional yet, which means it's time for another edition of what the heck is this family eating for dinner when we don't have a fully functioning kitchen? But that title is probably just a little too long for YouTube. So we'll just call it Easy Family Meals for Summer. So we're actually in my dining room right now, and this has been serving as a sort of makeshift kitchen for my family while we are undergoing a complete kitchen renovation. This is a project that has been on our agenda for a couple of years now. We finally decided to take the plunge and start working on it about 5 weeks ago. It's a big project, pretty much a complete gut and renovation of our kitchen, and I will of course be doing a big reveal when the project is finished. So for the past several weeks, I've been making videos sharing with you guys what my family has been doing during this season, the things that I've been purchasing at the grocery store and the meals I've been making for my family while we have very limited resources to cook with. I still have our refrigerator, and I also have a microwave and a little air fryer, but the MVP of this season has been my multifunction slow cooker. This is my Cuisinart slow cooker. It has not only high and low slow cook functions, but it also has a saute function and it has a steam function, which makes it easier for me to cook a variety of different meals because it can act as a skillet. So if you are going to find yourself in a similar situation, or you are thinking about what appliances to keep out or maybe to take with you, like in a camper or an RV, or to make sure is available at an Airbnb or a rental property, a multifunction slow cooker is where it's at. If I can find the one that I'm using from Cuisinart, I'll try to tag it right here. One of the meals I made using my slow cooker, using all those functions on the slow cooker earlier this week, was like a pork stir fry. I actually made the rice up earlier in the day. I used the steam function on the slow cooker to make up the rice, and then once it had cooled off, I put it in a container and popped it into the refrigerator to use later on. And I made a big batch of it because I planned to use it in a couple of meals. And then in the evening on that day, I started by sauteing some peppers that I had in the refrigerator with a little garlic and butter. Once those vegetables started to soften up, I added some ground pork. I had 1.5 pounds of ground pork that I just browned until it was completely cooked through. And then I added about 1/2 cup of brown sugar and soy sauce and a few tablespoons of chili garlic sauce, some salt and pepper, and a cornstarch slurry of about 1/2 cup of water and 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. I mixed that all together and let it simmer in the slow cooker for about 20 to 30 minutes on low until it had started to thicken up a little bit. And we just ate this over the rice that I had cooked earlier in the day or over cauliflower rice that I made in the microwave. Unfortunately, I did not get a clip of this meal plated, but it was really delicious. In fact, I don't even think I had any leftovers. And yes, you could absolutely use ground beef instead. In fact, I probably prefer ground beef to ground pork or ground chicken. This is very similar to the spicy ramen that I make on the stove, a really easy skillet meal that is on repeat for my family. I've shared that one with you guys many times. One thing we're benefiting from right now is the time of year that we chose to do this renovation in, because it's late spring, early summer, and we can do a lot of grilling. So another meal we had this week was grilled chicken. And one of the things that we have learned about chicken, especially chicken breast, is to get it marinating in the refrigerator overnight if possible. I've been using some marinades that I purchased from Thrive Market, but a bottle of salad dressing will do in a pinch as well. But we've learned that the longer we can marinate the chicken in a refrigerator, the better it tastes. And earlier in the day, I once again utilized the steam function on the slow cooker to cook pasta. And once the pasta was done cooking, I drained it and put it in the refrigerator. I did that in the morning so that in the late afternoon, I could come back to it and add some vegetables, some chopped cucumbers, maybe some salad greens, and I dressed it with some oil and vinegar, salt and pepper, and a little feta cheese, and we had a really delicious pasta salad to go along with our grilled chicken. Another meal this past week was a tried and true for us Italian sandwich. This is just where I take a loaf of plain French bread from the bakery, I slice it lengthwise, and then I put pepperoni, salami, sometimes ham, although I didn't do that this time. I usually put provolone cheese and some salad greens on it. I kept this one really simple with just the meat and cheese because we had a bag of Caesar salad mix in the refrigerator that I wanted to use up, and then we had some chips to go along with that. I actually made the sandwiches for the kids, and for my husband and myself, I put the meat and cheese onto some salad greens, and we ate it as a salad instead. We had walking tacos again this week, and I've mentioned that several times, including in a very recent video. This is where we take taco toppings, and we just put them inside a bag of crushed up Doritos or even Fritos. But what I do is make kind of a burrito bowl out of it. I will put the meat and the toppings on top of some cauliflower rice and add some cottage cheese. And then I'll use my favorite little corn crackers, Good Thins crackers, and I'll dip it into the mixture. So for me, that's just kind of like a little bit of a healthier version of the walking taco. It just adds a little bit of an extra protein and veggie kick. You don't have to eat these tacos out of the bag of Doritos. It's just what makes it really convenient, especially if you're feeding kids, and it's what allows you to walk around with it, which is why they're called walking tacos. But there's another option for you too if you are looking for something just a little bit healthier. We did do takeout one night. That's pretty normal for us, even when we are not in the middle of a kitchen renovation. My husband picked up fajita setup from one of our local Tex-Mex restaurants, and that's always a hit, and something also that usually generates some leftovers so that we can have stuff for lunches the next day. And that brings us to tonight, and I think I have an idea for what I want to make. I have some chicken here in the refrigerator, and I actually purchased the chicken that is already diced up. It's already in chunks like that. And I really want to make something in the crock pot that is like some kind of smothered chicken, you know, like a chicken in some kind of sauce or gravy that we can eat over the top of the rest of the rice that I made earlier in the week. So let's see what we can do. My chicken pieces have been browning. I have this on the saute function. It's set to 350 degrees saute, and they've been browning for about 5 minutes or so. I turned them over once. And now I'm going to add some garlic powder, about a teaspoon, onion powder, about half a teaspoon, some paprika, about a teaspoon, Italian seasoning, also about a teaspoon. This is kind of a clean out the refrigerator meal, so I've got a packet of tomato sauce and then a couple of little packets of chicken broth base that I'm gonna pour in here. Salt, pepper, and about 2 cups of water. I'm gonna give that a stir and make sure that all of the seasonings are evenly distributed there. Before I pop the lid on this, I switched the function to slow cook. So it's on high slow cook now, and I have the timer set for 2 hours, but I really think it's only gonna take about an hour to finish cooking the chicken because we got a head start on it with the saute. I'm actually quite proud of us, and by that I mean me, I'm proud of me. I really thought by now that I would have just caved and started just getting like takeout or fast food most nights, but I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping that mostly to about the same amount as normal. Maybe just a smidge more, like maybe 2 nights a week instead of 1 night a week. But I really think that we've done a good job trying to come up with things that we can eat, that we can make at home, even if we're using some shortcut ingredients, and like stay out of the drive-thru as much as possible during this whole kitchen renovation thing. Okay, my chicken has been cooking on high for 90 minutes and it is done. I actually used the little meat thermometer here to check the internal temperature and make sure it is definitely done to tender. And as I mentioned, this is like a clean out the fridge type meal. So I have all these little containers of sour cream that have come with like other meals, takeout meals or meal kits. So I'm just gonna toss those in there. I think these were from our Tex-Mex the other night. But waste not, right? I've got it, use it. Stir, stir, stir. I felt like I needed a thickener, so I added a cornstarch slurry of just about a 1/4 cup of water and a tablespoon of cornstarch. I'm gonna pop the lid back on and keep this on high. I could just bring it up to a simmer for about 5 minutes or so, let it thicken, but I think if I keep the slow cooker on high, it will thicken up in about 30 minutes or so. And some of you have chimed in and said that these meals have been very helpful because this tends to be a busy time of year as school is wrapping up, and a lot of the things that I'm making are really pretty simple or they come together quickly, don't require a lot of cooking, obviously. And as we roll into summer, and I know a lot of us don't want to fire up our kitchens very much, some of these meals could come in handy. I've mentioned already that sometimes they're very useful if you're traveling like in a camper or you're traveling to a rental, an Airbnb for the summer. So hopefully you guys have found some use for these types of videos and meals as well. Okay, here is mine all plated on our paper plates, which I'm also growing tired of using, but not a great place to wash dishes right now, so we're getting by with paper plates and cutlery, plastic cutlery. I have this on a bed of rice. I like to mix cauliflower rice and regular rice together. Then I have some broccoli on the side. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to add some of this provolone and mozzarella blend on top, just sprinkle a little bit of that on top and let it melt over the hot chicken. So that's what I'm gonna do. That'll be dinner tonight. If you are not already, make sure that you are subscribed. You don't wanna miss the big reveal when we have the kitchen finished. Until then, check out one of these videos to watch next, and I'll see you there.